Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to read part of Douglas Jardine's book, The Mad Mullah of Somaliland. This is a book that was published in early 1920s, and this is a book that tells the story of Mohammed Abdille Hassan, and particularly the dervish wars that he fought with the British from 1899 to around 1920s or early 1920s. Now, Douglas Jardine was a colonial administrator. He served, we can say, maybe was number 2, number 3 in British Somaliland between 1916 and 1921. Now, in this part, he tells us about a white man being spotted among the soldiers of Mohammed Abdille Hassan. And of course, I've done other videos where I talk about the composition of the army of the British that included people from all over the place, the Yao from Malawi, the Sikh from India, some people from even West Africa, from Kenya, from South Africa, the Boers from South Africa, and of course the British themselves. So it was an army that had a composition of people from all over the place. But the general understanding of the composition of the army of Mohammed Abdille Hassan is that it was a composition maybe 90% or primarily made of the local Somalis, and specifically people from the Dolbahanta clan. There were people from other clans, but the Dolbahanta were like formed the larger part of Mohammed Abdille Hassan's army, and of course the Dolbahanta was a clan of his mother. Now, but there are a few mentions here and there in the book where there is an impression that actually Mohammed Abdille Hassan did have people, either supporters or people who fought alongside him who were not even Somali. Now, there is a video I did about an Irish politician who actually voiced his support for Mohammed Abdille Hassan's war and said that Mohammed Abdille Hassan was fighting for freedom. And Douglas Jardine was very angry with that politician, and it does not even give us his name. It just says there is a politician, an Irish nationalist politician, the House of the Commons, who says that he supports Mohammed Abdille Hassan, and he says Mohammed Abdille Hassan is a hero, is fighting for freedom, and he says that he has been invited by Mohammed Abdille Hassan to go visit him, and he was planning to go visit him. We are not told whether he actually went to visit him, but he was showing that there were people even in the UK who supported the movement of Mohammed Abdille Hassan. Now, there is this other part where he talks about during the Battle of Gumburu, where the British lost almost 2 units completely, there was spotted a man who looked white. And Douglas Jardine tries to speculate the nationality of this individual. And this is what he says. Now, this is after Gumburu. This is in another battle that happens later. And he says, during the fight at Daratole, a white man in a topi was seen in the dervish ranks with a whistle controlling the fire. So at the Battle of Daratole, there is a white man who is seen with a whistle, and he seems to be controlling the army of Mohammed Abdille Hassan, or giving them instructions and guiding them on how to fight. The white man was presumably a Turk or an Arab who had joined the mullah in search of adventure. Now, this is very important. Focus on the use of language. I've told you many times that when you research documents, you have to be very careful about the language. I'm going to read again that part. It says, the white man was presumably a Turk or an Arab who had joined the mullah in search of adventure, although his apparition lent a color for the moment to a canard, very popular at that time, which avowed the mullah had surrounded himself with a few European advisors. Now, he says that this individual was likely a Turk or an Arab, but then he said he had joined the mullah in search of adventure, underline that, because that discredits this person, trying to make it seem like there was no way you will have somebody believe that Mohammed Abdille Hassan was fighting for anything meaningful. So anybody who joined him who was from another place was likely joining him for adventure, just adventure. Like, it's not like they were fighting for anything meaningful. So, but he says this person being seen created this story, the narrative that Mohammed Abdille Hassan had surrounded himself with a few European advisors. but he says it's just a story. So there's a possibility actually that maybe he was an Arab or attacked, but there is also a possibility that the story that was so popular among the people that these were a few Europeans is likely true, because I don't see why the people will be so wrong in thinking that those were Europeans. If they were attacked, they would have known that they were attacked. And there is another part where he mentioned that there is someone, it was said was either from Germany or from Russia, who served as his advisor. So there were those stories. The Topi and Whistle had doubtless been taken from Gumburu's stricken field, as also had been the other articles of the dervish equipment, such as the black clothes caps of the Yaos, the khaki pagaris of the Sikhs, and the Manlicha cartridges belonging to the Manlicha sporting rifle possessed by poor John Stewart, the only weapon of its kind, and with the force. So they said some of these items that were seen by this Dervish army during the Daratole battle were actually taken from the Gumburu battle, where the British lost 2 units and they lost a lot of stuff. But anyway, so there was this story of a white person seen among the army of Mohammed Abdille Hassan. The British says if there are war, then this is someone who was there for adventure, for purely adventure reasons. Those are my random thoughts.